Hi guys, and welcome back to FutureFunded. So today I'm going to be going through the 4 things that I wish that I knew when I first started my trading journey, and if I could go back in time and tell myself these things then, I'd be a much better trader much faster. So these are the 4 things that I'm going to show to you in this video, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so first and foremost, one of the 4 things that I wish I had knew at the beginning, because obviously at the very start, the first thing that you get taught is trend lines, support and resistance, supply and demand, yada yada, all the kind of basic things, you know. Trend is your friend, follow the trend and stuff like that. So I think the first thing that I wish I knew is truly accept that you can lose. All right, accept the fact that every time you go into the market every single day, you are taking a risk. Accept the fact that there is no guaranteed outcome, and stop focusing on how nice your trade looks and start focusing on what are the downsides and capital preservation. You know, I see so many traders try and do all of these things and add in all of these indicators and so forth and so on, only to then lose because they don't actually understand the concept that even your A+ setup still has an equal and opposite chance of losing as it does winning. All right, and I think that's one of the main things. So if you can get comfortable with the fact that you're taking a risk every single day, it's kind of like a casino really, then that's when your trading will become far more easier to dip in and out of the markets all the time, because you're not worried about the fact that you're going to lose. You're not worried about how much you're going to lose. You already accepted that. You already accepted the amount that you could lose today. You already accepted the amount, or you already accepted the fact that you can lose in general. When you start to think in that kind of mindset, trading is nowhere near as emotional. All right, it's much more systematic when you start thinking like that, because you're no longer scared about jumping into a trade. You're no longer scared. You don't hesitate. You don't have FOMO. You don't enter too early or enter too late, purely because you're just waiting for your strategy to materialize, and then once it does, you just execute. And you're not focused on the outcome. You're just more or less focused on, did I do everything right today? Did I execute the plan correctly? Not how much did I make or how much did I lose, or will this trade work or will it not? So that's kind of the first thing that I would say is the most important. Accept the risk. Accept the fact that trading in terms of outcomes is random. Out of 20 trades, you don't know which ones are going to win and which ones are going to lose. You just know that, you know, either or is going to happen over the course of those 20 trades. So whichever ones do win and lose are irrelevant. You just have to focus on making your wins much bigger than your losses, and how can you minimize your losses so that you can be kept in the game long enough to get to that winning trade. That's the first thing. The second thing is think long term. Okay, so many traders come into the market and they want to make ridiculous, unrealistic amounts in their first month, their first week, their first 2 weeks, and they get pissed off and they get annoyed if they, you know, if they haven't improved or whatever it is by month 2 or month 3. That is normally when most people quit. People quit because they expect to make loads of money in the first month to 3 months. It's unrealistic. You wouldn't do that in a business. If you had a business that you were setting up, you would at least allow a year. And most businesses don't even make money in the first year. So you're happy and content with that. But when it comes to trading, you want to become a millionaire in a month. It's unrealistic. You have to at least allow yourself 2, 3, 4 years of trial and error, because that's what you'll be going through. You will be going through phases where you're going to be losing more than you win, simply because you are in that trial and error phase. You haven't had enough time or experience on the markets to be able to understand market behavior. You haven't gone through the different cycles year in and year out, that you need to. All right, you haven't gone through market shifts. These are all of the things that shape you as a trader and make you more confident. You don't have enough data to be able to start asking yourself why you're not making any money in this, that, and the other. You have to go through the process. You have to go through a year, 2 years, 3 years worth of data to be able to improve. You have to go through that journey. All right, and that's one of the main things. Trading is not about how well you did today. Trading is simply about, what are my flaws? What are my bad habits? What are my good habits? How can I take away all of my bad habits and focus on the good ones? But you have to at least allow yourself time to do that. If you're not going to allow yourself the time that you need, to develop that self-discipline, to develop that consistency within your trading, within your lifestyle, within your environment, within your daily routine, then you are never, ever gonna make any kind of progress in trading, which will ultimately just result in you quitting. That's why 99% of most traders do fail, because they quit. And they quit because their expectations are far off from what their expectations would be with any other business around the world. All right, so truly treat it like a business. Focus on the long game. Focus on 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Give yourself a 5-year plan. All right, at the end of 5 years, if you still aren't anywhere closer to where you are today, essentially, then you can start asking yourself questions. Is this actually right for me? Do I have what it takes to become a trader? Is this, something that I'm still passionate about? Yada, yada, yada. But until you get to that point where you've got all of that data and experience, you shouldn't be asking yourself that question. You should just be waking up every day and continuously trying your best to obtain as much data, go through as many trades as you can to gain as much experience as you can so that you can improve. All right, so that's the second thing. The third thing is you don't have a proper strategy. Well, two things really. You don't actually have a strategy in place that you're sticking to. And secondly, you don't actually have a strategy that you trust or that you think works. In order to actually even have a chance in this market, you have to backtest and you have to practice, or at least go to someone, a mentor, guidance, someone who has proof of concept that can give you a strategy and that can showcase to you their results. They can showcase over a year's worth of data to say, my strategy is consistent month in, month out over the course of 2023, 2024, whatever it might be. All right, because that's going to give you the confidence, belief, and trust in that plan that you need to be able to consistently follow it without deviating or without changing to another strategy every other week. So it's incredibly difficult to come into trading after a month, 2 months, 3 months, try and build your own strategy when there are institutional players out there in the world who have spent 5, 6, 8, 10 years developing a strategy, an algorithm that generates billions of dollars, and you're trying to come into the same market as them with 2 months worth of strategy experience, trying to build something of your own without any real proof that it actually works. And you might be working on this strategy for 6 to 12 months and you don't even know whether it works or not. All right, so to even make this process a lot faster for you, you could bypass all of that and just go to a mentor, go to someone who can give you a strategy and can show you something that works. And then you can start practicing that and putting that into play and start trusting it. And believe you me, if you do have a strategy or a plan that you can see works, it gives you far more confidence than having to develop a plan that you don't have any idea whether it's going to work. All right, there's two different mindsets there. Secondly, when it comes to the strategy itself, you're not sticking to it. That's one of the main things. Most traders don't even have their strategy written down. They just have it in their head. All right, and most traders don't even know what their strategy even is. They're just jumping in and out of the markets whenever they see something that looks nice, and they're going to catch this trade in bed as they wake up or on their phone, or all of the nonsense that you see out there. And it is nonsense. All right, it is nonsense. You need to have a strict plan in place that showcases to you when you're supposed to be entering and exiting the market and what confluences you need to look for to actually put that position on. If you are just going off of your opinion, if you're just going off blind, if you're just jumping into something that you are looking at and you're saying it looks nice, then you're never going to make it in trading, because you are essentially just gambling. You have no proof as to why you should be taking that trade. You can't justify to yourself after why you've taken that trade, and that's a big problem. All right, whereas if you have a plan in place, not only can you justify why you've executed a trade, you also have something to look back on as like a tick list. You have something as a backup for you in case you have any questions or uncertainties before you're about to take that trade. You can then go to your strategy, double check it, and then you can trade. And then once that position's done and dusted, whatever the outcome, you can then go back to your strategy and ask yourself the question, did I follow the plan today? And then you can go through it one by one and see whether you did or not. And if you didn't, then there you have it, right? You've got something to improve on, and you've got something to learn, and that's the positive thing about trading. There's always room for improvement. You're never a finished article. But if you don't have that plan to begin with, you're never even gonna be able to start the journey of self-improvement. All right, so that's obviously the second thing when it comes to strategy, and it's the most important. So find a mentor, find guidance. It doesn't have to be me, it can be anyone you want. All right, find someone who you trust, who you can see has results to show for themselves, who's credible, and then pay them what you need to pay them. Well, you're not even paying them, you're investing in yourself, right? That's what you're actually doing. You're investing in yourself to become a better trader, and that's what everyone has to do it. You can't just expect to do everything for free. You have to take risks in life, and this is one of them. All right, so last and not least, focus on higher time frame. Okay, so many traders, when they jump onto the charts, you will see so many different traders focused on either a 15-minute time frame, a 5-minute time frame, a 1-minute time frame. All of these micro time frames are so loose, and what I mean by that is you're never going to get the full picture. You're never going to be able to understand what the narrative is or what structure's actually telling you, and you're always inevitably going to get caught out or confused, because things are going to be happening on higher time frame that you're not going to be seeing on lower time frame, which means you're going to be entering and exiting a trade on a 5-minute time frame just because you've seen one entry model, and then it's going to go completely against you, and it's going to be a huge move to the downside. Let's say you bought, because you're not focusing on the entirety of the picture. Okay, so you need to focus on weekly, daily, 4-hour, 1 hour first, and then you can start scaling down to micro time frames. All right, and if you do it that way, look, I mean, most strategies can work. I'm not saying that it can't, and I'm sure there are people out there or traders out there who have made a strategy work out of micro time frames. But for majority of people, you're going to be able to cut out the confusion that you have in your trading if you understand the entirety of the picture. I can come off every single one of my trades, and I can give a solid reason as to where I've gone wrong or what mistake I might have made. Whereas when you're just entering on one particular time, you're just in kind of confusion mode. You don't really know what's gone wrong. You thought you did it right, you can't really see anything, and then you start looking at other strategies and this, that, and the other, when really it's kind of staring you straight in the face. You're just not willing to look properly anyway. So focus on the higher time frame. Stop focusing on what's going on right this second. Focus on the bigger picture always, and then scale down for your entries. That's the way that I've always learned how to trade. That's the very thing that made me consistent, profitable. It's the very thing that allowed me to pass my prop firm accounts with FutureFunded and get consistent withdrawals. I've always done things the same way because I've kept it mechanical. I've kept it the same. I've never deviated. I've always just followed the same routine. And trading should get to a point where it becomes boring. If it becomes boring in your head, that means that you're developing into a good trader. If trading is exciting, if trading gives you that thrill and this, that, and the other, then ultimately you're always going to be humbled by the market at some point or another, because it shows you that your emotions are clouding your judgment. All right, so those are the 4 things that I wish I knew, but I'm glad I know them now. But even though I know them now, I don't want you to have to wait 3-4 years before you know them. Start implementing everything that I've said now, and I promise you over the long term, that will compound up until the point where you become consistent. All right, so I hope that helps, guys. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next video. So there you go, guys. There's the 4 things that I wish I could have said to my younger self 5 years ago, but that's absolutely fine because we wouldn't have it any other way. If you liked that video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. And please don't forget to go to FutureFunded, get your challenge, check out the educational platform, and see for yourself. I'll see you next time.